Kiesel makes some of the most highly regarded and quality guitars around the globe from their Escondido workshop in Southern California. And they're a very well-respected guitar brand, endorsed by the likes of Jason Becker, Sophie Lloyd, Devin Townsend, and now even dual endorsement wielding enthusiast Stephen Carpenter. And while I have always admired Kiesel guitars, none of them have ever really clicked for me. They've always felt like incredibly high-end performance ergonomic machines rather than chunga-bunga riff makers, if you know what I mean. And you'd think I'd be into that given my propensity for standing desks and ergonomic chairs. I mean, this is peak civilization in my opinion. But back to Kiesel. Of the guitars that I have tried, they have always been some of the highest quality. The builds are exceptional and every detail always feels like it's been gone over with great care. But the actual designs of the guitars were never, dare I say, metal enough for me.
How dare you!
That all changed when I started messing around with their online builder, which I highly suggest doing or not doing depending on if you like spending money. And I came up with this. I have to correct myself here. I didn't actually come up with this. This design was actually sent to me by my good buddy Jamie Slays. Maybe you guys know him. He just thought it was something I would really like, and he was correct. So after seeing that and what you could design on the builder, that inspired me to go on and modify it to my own specs. Notice the Floyd Rose. Okay, back to the video. Now, I've low-key always wanted to buy a left-handed Randy Rhoads V and string it backwards a la Jimi Hendrix, but last time I came close to doing that, my patrons talked me out of it because they said it looked stupid. But now I can just pick this shape and I don't have to justify it to anyone. Actually, the Ultra V has an interesting history. It was introduced by Carvin in the late 80s. It didn't see much success, however, and was discontinued in 1993, only to be briefly reintroduced in 2007. And now it just exists in Kiesel's builder library, so you can just have them make you one. So let's do that. Greetings. The guitar on my porch, or it was on my porch. It's in my garage now. Let's open it. See what's in here. Oh man, it's too early. Too early for me to do talking. You can obviously tell this is from Kiesel. I was talking to one of the homies over at Kiesel, and you know, he mentioned to me that like, hey, we should do a build together. And this obviously piqued my interest because if you saw the video on all of my guitars at the end of 2025, then you know I thought the Kiesel 𝗰𝗶𝗹 was like a very, very nice guitar. Like one of the nicest guitars I've ever played. However, you know, those more ergonomic shapes are not, they just don't like really do it for me. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna stab my foot. Look, that thing came undone. So to summarize, you know, if you saw that video, I was highly impressed by the guitar. Ergonomic shapes, not really my thing. And then the contact over at Kiesel was like, well, let's just do a build together. Like, what would you want on a guitar? Let's just do a build, you know, with your specs. I was like, whoa, that sounds cool. So I went on their builder, which you can also do. You can just go to their website and kind of like dream up your own custom guitar. It's highly addictive, if I'm being honest with you. I actually get messages from a lot of my friends all the time with their like custom creations that they've made on the online builder. But anyways, I went on the online builder, made what I thought the most metal guitar I could make on the Kiesel website. So, you know, this is Kiesel's most metal guitar, at least, you know, in my opinion. I have no idea what this is gonna look like IRL, you know? This one comes in a hard case, which makes sense. It's kind of a pointy shape. All right, here, I'll reveal it for you guys. Is this the back or the front? Oh, it's got it's got the clicky thing. I was trying to find the, yeah, that's funny. And here we go. What does it look like? Is it cool? Oh yeah, that's really cool. Oh dude, that is so cool. Holy shit. Okay, so this is sick. So this is the Kiesel Ultra V. I actually got up my nice camera for this because, you know, nice guitar and everything. That is a finish. I like flat crackle. Holy shit, this looks so badass, dude. We have a Floyd Rose 1000, and let me just read the specs real quick. This is the Kiesel Ultra V. Now, this was customized on Kiesel's website, so you could really make this guitar or whatever guitar you want with any combination of these things, but these are the ones I chose. It is a 25.5-inch scale guitar with an alder body. This is the blood red crackle clear satin matte finish. It has the reverse pointed angle headstock, a 3-piece maple and walnut neck with the thinner neck profile, an ebony fretboard. The fretboard has a 14-inch radius and stainless steel medium jumbo frets, staggered offset mother of pearl dot inlays. On the electronic side, I can't really remember if I picked these out or not, if they were just the defaults, but they are the lithium pickups. I actually like these pickups in the 𝗰𝗶𝗹, so I think they're probably gonna be good here too. And everything has black chrome hardware. We have the Kiesel drop shadow logo. You know, and in a world where guitars seem like they very rarely come with hard cases anymore, I think it's worth pointing out how nice this hard case is. Button strap here for the compartment. Of course, you get your Kiesel quality inspection checklist. This thing, these tools, I said this in the 𝗰𝗶𝗹 video, but these tools are really awesome. Look, you have a full set of Allen wrenches. You have a ruler with both millimeters and inches for guitar setups. You have your screwdrivers and more Allen keys on the other side. This is just a really, really nice tool. I don't know why I'm getting so hung up on this, but you know, it's the little things. The keys for the case, and obviously the whammy bar. Yeah, just a solid, nice case. Cool. All right, so there you go, dude. Look at this thing, man. It is a monster of a guitar too. So this guitar, just like the 𝗦𝗶𝗶, came to me with an immaculate setup, but what kind of video would this be if I didn't take it through a whole setup process and give you all of the finer details here? So we are gonna do that. I actually wanna plug this in and test it out though first. We're in E standard, so we're gonna take this down to C standard anyway. So, you know, it'll be worth documenting that whole process, but I do wanna plug this in and give this a test run with the setup that it has on it. Fuck yeah, dude, I'm stoked. I've been waiting for this guitar for a hot minute. Oh, you. What's up, guys? I have the Kiesel Ultra V plugged in here. It's plugged into the 𝗦𝗶𝗶. It's gonna be a long day. You know what? It just wants to live this way. We're just gonna keep it that way. Why fight it, right? Okay, what was I saying? We have the Kiesel Ultra V that is plugged into the devil from my company, Obsidian Audio, which is feeling saucy today and just doesn't want to stand up. So we're putting it on its side. It's because I'm using this like nylon cable that just likes to slide around everywhere. There's a good reason for that. I'll get into that in 1 second. That is plugged into the 𝗦cije𝗰𝗶𝗹 𝗦𝗶𝗶 amplifier powering this 𝗦ci 𝗰𝗶𝗹 cabinet. And I'm not using, you know, the 𝗦cije𝗰𝗶𝗹 expander. I'm like freeballing this video. You're just hearing the microphones on the cabinet. I have no fail-safe if something goes wrong, so hopefully it doesn't go wrong. Yeah, look at this thing, dude. Fucking rules. What a badass looking guitar, right? The reason I'm using this nylon cable, which is very slick and doesn't allow pedals to stand in one spot, is because the jack placement on the Kiesel Ultra V. So this is kind of an important detail here. You know, if you're playing it like this, that's why I have a strap on also. That's what she said. The reason that I'm playing it with this is the only cable that I have that's a right angle cable. So you can actually play it like in classical position without the jack just, you know, hitting you in the balls. There's a detail. If you want to play this V, the jack placement is just, it's right here. So, you know, ball territory. But so far, man, everything feels really great with this guitar, and the action is insanely low, just like with the 𝗦𝗶𝗶. It's actually maybe a little bit too low for me, but you know, maybe it's not too low for you. Maybe you like the least amount of distance possible between the strings and the frets. Plays like butter, man. Now, the pickups are quite a bit different. I always use EMGs, like that's just my typical pickup. I prefer the EMG 8185X set, but I digress. These pickups are quite a bit different. They have a more focused mid-range. They're almost genty a little bit, maybe like a little bit quacky. I am playing in E standard also, so we'll see if that changes when I change the tuning to my preferred C standard tuning in this guitar. You know, maybe it changes it. But it feels so good in the hands, man. It plays like butter. It plays very much like the Kiesel 𝗦𝗶𝗶 as well. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. This guitar did come to me set up in E standard though, so you know we can. Sounds great, but let's go to a clean channel so you can hear these pickups in E standard, since probably majority of you are more familiar with E standard than C standard sounds. Oh. Turn that off. That might help. Here is the bridge pickup. Here's the neck. Here's the middle. Yeah, so we're a little bit spiky in the mid-range, like the upper mids a little bit. But it does sound like really brilliant and chimey. So I would call these pickups really versatile in their sound. And if you like the sound of Alnico pickups, you know, that being a little bit more pushed forward in the mids, I would say that these are probably right up your alley. We will measure the output of these pickups during the setup process. I'm just gonna guess they're probably pretty hot. And I'll do this with the boost pedal off so that way you can compare it to earlier in the video when we were playing through. Let's check the neck dive here real quick too. And unsurprisingly, there's zero neck dive. Well, there's a little bit. Not really much. It like dives into playing position. And I think most of that is just because of the button placement being right here, like in the middle of the neck at the heel. It's very comfortable to play. Even sitting with a strap on. That's what she said again. Even sitting using a guitar strap, it's very comfortable to play. I think I've learned everything I need to, there's gonna be very minimal things I'm gonna have to address in the setup. Just pretty much any adjustments that need to be made in going from E standard to C standard with thicker gauge strings, which I don't think there will be very much. I will explain why once we get over there. But most of what we're gonna do during the setup process is just get like detailed specifications, So yeah, let's jump over to do that now. Okay, I'm just documenting this for posterity and then we're gonna get all the measurements, but look at this. Everything is on this guitar. And I know that's probably the standard of quality that you expect from a Kiesel, but man, it's just worth pointing it out here while I have the strings off and everything. I mean, look at the fretboard, look at the frets. This is very, very high level craftsmanship. I've played a lot of guitars, and it definitely stands out amongst them. Woo! Okay, now of course we're still gonna measure everything, craftsmanship or not. Let's start here with the neck. Now remember, this is the ultra slim neck. It is an option under your neck options. When you're in the designer, you can actually choose whether you want their regular neck profile or their ultra slim, I think it's called, neck profile. Ultra skinny, I don't know, something like that. At the first fret, we are at 19.64 millimeters or 0.77 inches. That is super skinny. And then up here at the 12th fret, we're at 22.1 or 0.87 millimeters. So insanely thin neck profile here. Let's do the width, just a shade over 43 millimeters wide at the nut, which is 1.69 inches. And then up here at the 12th fret, we're at 52.3738 millimeters or 2.06 inches. Let me give you a flyover of the neck profile here. It's very round. There's not much in the way of shoulders here. It's very round. I would say it's almost, a little bit flat. It reminds me a lot of a Jackson neck, but a little bit thinner. Maybe more in line with like one of the Wizard Ibanez necks. The thin ones. There's so many Wizard Ibanez necks, it's hard to compare any neck to an Ibanez neck, but you probably understand what I'm saying. It is a very thin neck here with a very comfortable profile. A truly shreddy neck, if you will. Now I'm actually gonna take these pickups out here because if I don't, it's gonna hurt someone's feelings. So we'll take these pickups out and then measure them. Now there's not a lot of room with this lead for me to actually flip the whole pickup around, but you can see there's wax in here. So these are wax potted pickups and they're Kiesel branded pickups. So they're in-house pickups. Yeah, that's what they look like. And here's what it looks like underneath the pickups. There's not a whole lot going on down there. Kiesel lithium bridge, Kiesel lithium neck, I'm assuming. So another interesting thing here, these are actually mounted with wood screws. You can see the tip is sharp there, but they do have springs as well. A lot of times when you see pickups like this without pickup rings, you'll see foam underneath the actual pickup itself. I don't know if there's a big difference in between springs and foam. I know it's easier to adjust with the springs in my experience, but it's probably just up to personal preference. Let's get these things back down and then we'll measure the output. Also, there's 2 screws on the bass side and 1 on the treble side. I'm not sure why, but just telling you. Okay, surprisingly, this wasn't too bad to get these pickups back in, but there was one screw on the neck pickup. The treble side was really difficult to get in just because of that really short lead that it had right there. So it's not a bad thing. They're just being extremely efficient with their wiring, I guess. I got so caught up with putting strings on that I forgot to measure the pickups. It's kind of an important part of the video, right? Let's see here what we got. Yeah, not bad. At the bridge, we're at 12.7. Up at the neck, it's a little bit lower than I thought, but 7.16. And that leaves us with 4.63 in the middle. So there you go, decently hot pickups, especially the bridge. I do want to take the back plates off here too, that way you can see inside the control cavity, and we can check the Floyd Rose also. I have misidentified Floyd Roses before. I'm pretty sure there's a 1000 series, but I could be wrong. So here's the back of the trem, pretty typical for a 1000 series Floyd Rose, but you can see the wood in here. You can see the walnut and maple. And look at our control cavity. We have full copper in the control cavity, so everything is shielded. The whole wiring job looks really good. And if you've ever came across this before where you've stripped out the wood with the screws, these are actually machine screws, you know, and there's like the countersunk part that they go into right there. The plate that covers the claw, these are just standard wood screws, but on the control cavity here, we do have these machine screws. Nice, let's put it back together and get strings on it. FYI, if you're newer here and you don't know, I'm using this set of Stringjoy strings to tune to C standard on this guitar. The reason that I use this specific arrangement of gauges is because we end up with about the same tension that we would with 9s and E standard with these strings. So yeah, probably not much adjusting once I put these on, but we'll check. If you see me doing what seems like an excessive amount of adjusting here, there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, my cool boy big brain idea of using balanced strings to match the tension of 9s and E standard didn't work with this guitar. I'm assuming that's because it was set up in E standard with 10 gauge strings on it, but I digress. The other thing is I just really wanted to make this perfect. It's a guitar of exceptional craftsmanship, and I think it just deserved the extra time in the setup process. So that's why I keep going back and forth, because I'm trying to get it perfectly balanced. All right, we're back. There's a few things that I want to mention about the setup. I think this actually came to me in E standard with 10s on it, because I did have to relieve the neck a bit, and I did have to relieve the spring tension for the Floyd Rose. These strings are 11 through 56, something like that, in C standard. But I actually left the action where it was, which is pretty surprising because it's crazy. Look, let me see if I can quantify this for you here, right? Because you probably want to know. It's like 2 millimeters at the 12th fret on the bass end, and then 1.5 on the treble end. Pretty ridiculously low. The neck is also perfectly flat. Everything's ringing out. You know, I'm not getting any dead spots or anything like that. So, you know, if that's important to you, which it probably is if you're watching this channel, yeah, there you go. Now let's talk about the pickups here a little bit. Since I'm in C standard, this is a way more familiar situation for me to be in. I would describe them as very vocal in the mid-range. Like I said earlier, you know, 𝗦liche pick. This is not surprising. If you are into more modern-ish, djenty type stuff, or maybe even like 80s shred, that might be more appealing to you. But if you like scoop 𝗦liche riffs like me, then, you know, you might have to work with them a little bit. I'm gonna boost this guy here again. Let's just see what that does to the sound. A good boost though, yeah. Speaking of pickups though, let's go back to the clean channel and see what we sound like in C standard, you know, with clean sounds, yeah. Very nice and warm, very full bodied. These pickups are really great all around pickups. That was the bridge. Let's go to the neck. Just tremendous amount of low end response too. Middle. Just really, really excellent clean tones. Actually, speaking of the pickups real quick, let me play an EMG 81X equipped guitar, and you can sort of A-B. Editor Taylor chiming in here. The biggest thing that I'm noticing in post is the low end response. The Kiesel pickups have such a massive amount of low end. It was much more controlled with the EMGs. Not super noticeable in the room, but very, very noticeable in post production. So, yeah, let's go back to the Kiesel. My thoughts on the process of this. The first thing, let's just talk about the pickups since that's mostly what I've been blabbing on about here. I would probably swap these out for EMG X, but those are just my favorite pickups. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. That doesn't mean that these are bad pickups by any means. I think they're actually really great pickups. I think that they're super versatile and they cover like a lot of bases, so it makes a lot of sense to put these in a guitar just as like your base model pickup because, you know, it can do a lot of different things. Now, as far as the build quality is exceptional. Like my experience with the Kiesel Guitar, it's just, they know what they're doing. They do it really, really well. And I think that the experience of building this guitar online using their online building tool thing, I don't know, I'm messing this up right now, but you know what I'm saying? Their online guitar builder is really cool. Like just sort of trying to imagine up what you want in a guitar and then, you know, getting it in your hands and holding it in real life and just being like, wow, this is really, really badass. I was a little bit disappointed because Kiesel always does that A-B thing with builder versus reality. And they didn't do it with my guitar. I don't know why. Maybe they're holding off on it or something like that. Watching their stories every day, I knew the guitar was done in production and just waiting to ship to me. So I was hoping that I would see it in there, but alas, I didn't see it in there. I'll just have to put it in my Instagram stories or right here, right now for you. There you go. You got it. Everything about this guitar is just awesome. It's really what I imagined it would be like. You know, I'm not super surprised in a good way, but hopefully you guys have got something out of this video, especially, you know, if you've been thinking about buying a Kiesel guitar. And for those of you guys that show up regularly, you know, like, thank you. I appreciate you being here, man. Even though this video is mostly me just dingusing around on a guitar, you know, I'm glad that, you know, you seem to enjoy that. All right, shout out to Kiesel for making this happen, but more importantly, shout out to you guys for being here with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you like this video, make sure to let YouTube know that you like it by doing all the things. If you really like what I do here on this channel, consider subscribing or being massively overpowered like these beautiful humans over here on Patreon, where you get behind the scenes access to stuff like this and things I'm doing in my normal life, if that sounds appealing to you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.